Hey guys, my name is Emily, if you haven't seen my face before. Today I'm going to be doing a read with me video for Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This is actually the second book that I've ever read by Colleen Hoover, and I really wanted to make a reading vlog for this just because Colleen Hoover books are so well loved and I have heard so many good things about them. I really loved Slammed, which is the only other book I've read by her, and I wanted to start making reading vlogs for her other books just in case there are some crazy twists, and I want to film my reactions for you guys because I know a lot of people are big fans of Colleen Hoover. Going into it, I knew absolutely nothing about the plot. I didn't even read the back of the book or anything like that, so I knew absolutely nothing going into this other than the fact that it's called Hopeless. That's pretty much it. I also had no clue on if this was a favorite by Colleen Hoover fans or if this is one that's a little bit under the radar or maybe just not a favorite in general. I had no knowledge on what this book was about or how people felt about it. So I was going into it very blind, and I was really open-minded with how things were going to go because I didn't want to get my hopes up too high and be disappointed if I didn't like the book. So what I ended up doing was reading this book in 2 days. So I'm going to be giving you guys some check-ins as I read throughout the book. There's going to be no spoilers in these check-ins, but there is going to be a spoiler section at the very end of this video, and I will definitely let you guys know in advance, and I'll put spoilers somewhere on the screen. That way if you're skipping through the video, you can know not to watch that part if you don't want to be spoiled. Personally, I find reading a lot more enjoyable if I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't want to spoil anybody. Unless you want to be spoiled, then feel free to watch the end of the video. Or if you have read the book and you want to know my thoughts on the nitty-gritty details of this book. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys check out my updates as I read throughout the book, and I will be back at the end to give you my overall thoughts as well as my spoiler thoughts. Alright guys, so I am on page 32, and I think I just met the love interest named Holden. I have not read the back of this book, so I don't know anything about it or what to expect, but just the way that he was introduced, I'm pretty sure he's going to be our love interest for our main character. The names are kind of odd, which I noticed was also a thing in Slammed. So we have our main character Sky, who seems a little bit sassy, and I kind of like it, as well as her best friend named Six, who is literally named after a number, so that's kind of weird. And she's also made friends with a boy named Brecken, I think that's how you say the name, and of course our love interest Holden. So we definitely have some interesting names going on. So far so good. I'm just starting the book, so I don't really have an opinion yet, but I'm definitely intrigued and I'm interested in seeing where this will go. Holden seems very broody and mysterious, which I definitely like in a love interest, so I'm very excited to see where this story takes that character, and I will definitely keep you guys posted when anything interesting happens. Okay, I'm now on page 45, so I haven't read too much more, but I've just finished the water bottle scene, which you guys would know about if you've read this book. But so far, I'm actually really liking the interactions between Holden and Sky. I love how he's already kind of protective over her, but at the same time, there are some ups and downs with his character already. There's a lot of things that are kind of contradicting in his personality, so I'm really intrigued to know more about his backstory and why he is the way he is. So I'm pretty much already getting very into the story, and I'm only 45 pages in, which is awesome, and I'm hoping it stays that way for the rest of the story. So fingers crossed that this will be a good one. We are now 53 pages in. I'm making these updates a lot closer than I thought I was going to be, but I have a lot of thoughts. I've just realized I've been reading his name as Holden in my head instead of Holder, but his name is Dean Holder, so it makes a lot more sense that Holder is his last name that he goes by instead of being a first name, because I was like, Holden, that's so weird. But Holden isn't any better than Holder and vice versa. So anyways, that was just a little confusion on my part. Don't know why I did that, but anyways, I am all good now. His name is Holder, and I'm actually very surprised at how quickly Sky is falling for him. I wasn't expecting it to be kind of like an instant love story, but it's kind of seeming that way on her end at least, but I'm not mad at it. I think that the way that the story is coming together is really setting up the characters nicely, and I'm really intrigued to know how their relationship is going to work. So I'm very much intrigued. I just wish it would have taken a little bit longer for her to start having these feelings for him, but other than that,
I'm good to go, and I'm gonna keep reading. I might honestly read a lot today because so far I'm really enjoying the story and I'm not getting tired of reading, and I'm 50 pages in. So we are just gonna keep trucking along, and I will see you guys at our next update. All right, guys, so it's been a little bit since my last update. I'm now on page 113. So I am really pushing through this book. I am fully absorbed into it at this point. I cannot put this down. I was going to stop a little bit earlier to make an update, but I just wanted to keep reading because I'm already into the story. I'm invested. Honestly, this has been one sitting and I've already read over 100 pages. So I'm going to take a bit of a break. Right now, I'm at the part where, again, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there's really cute flirting going on, and I'm really loving the way that these two talk to each other. Skye and Holder are very, very cute, but at the same time, I'm having some conflicting feelings. The way that they're flirting with each other does seem like they would have known each other for a little bit longer before they were this comfortable with each other, but at the same time, I guess they just have really good chemistry, and I'm fine with that. I still haven't decided how I feel about them yet, though, because there's a lot of things about Holder that are still a big mystery, and we don't really know his backstory yet too much or what's going on with him. So there's some things about his personality that don't really make sense yet, but I'm looking forward to learning about that and figuring out how I feel about them as a couple. But for now, I'm going to go take a break, and then I'm going to hop right back into this book after I eat, probably, because I am just sucked in and I just want to keep reading. So I will see you guys back soon. Okay, guys, I'm now on page 147 of this book. This is insane, honestly. I'm just so sucked into this book, I can't stop reading, but I'm forcing myself to stop for now. We learned about some of his backstory, and honestly, I wasn't really sure what I was expecting that Holder experienced in his life that made him the way it is. I think what he experienced that we know about so far isn't the end of it. I feel like there has to be more, because I feel like this doesn't completely justify the way that he acts, but at the same time, I'm really liking his character. I feel like he's the perfect amount of broodiness and mysteriousness, but still very considerate and sweet, and I feel like he's a very interesting character that I'm still very curious about. I hope we get some more details because I'm not really satisfied yet from what we know about him so far. So there's that. I also just finished quite a spicy scene, which I really was not expecting, but here we are. I think that it just kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting anything like that this early in the book, but at the same time, I feel like it really fit with what was happening, so I'm not mad at that. As of right now, this book is very enjoyable. I'm really loving the characters for the most part. The side characters aren't as lovable for me as the two main characters are, but I feel like it was the same way with Slammed. I really, really enjoyed the couple, and then the side characters were just kind of meh. I don't really feel too strongly about the side characters right now, same thing, but we will see how those go. Hopefully they get a little bit more likable or more interesting, I guess, throughout the rest of the book, but I still have a lot of the ways to go. I feel like right now everything is almost too good to be true. Things are going very well between them, but we still have over half the book left to go, so I feel like stuff still has to hit the fan. Something is about to happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But I think for now I'm going to take a break. I might pick the book up later tonight or even tomorrow morning, just because I don't want to read this book pretty much all in one sitting. I want to take my time with it and slow down a little bit. So I'm going to stop for now, and I will see you guys later. All right, guys, it is now the next day, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to finish Hopeless today. I am a little bit less than halfway through the book, but I have a few hours to spare, and I'm just going to power through this, I think. I'm really excited to finish this book, and I'm just going to jump right into it, and I will see you guys shortly when something interesting happens. Okay, so now I'm on page 161. I just finished the bracelet scene, I guess you could call it, and I'm very confused. I don't understand why Holder is acting this way. I feel like the things we know about his past aren't really justifying why he seems to be acting like jealous or some kind of weird emotion that I'm not really sure what's going on right now. So as of right now, I'm not a fan of the way he's acting, and obviously neither is Skye, but I'm sure he'll come around. We're gonna get some sort of explanation. Hopefully it makes sense, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, update time. I am now on page 213. I'm a little bit more than halfway through the book right now. And so far, I'm at the point where there's a lot of ups and downs in their relationship. I feel like things are going to work out, but I feel like it's not going to be a very simple solution because their personalities seem to clash a lot of the time. And I do appreciate the fact that the characters are acknowledging the fact that their relationship is going so fast. We'll see how things go. I'm pretty sure the drama is going to start kicking up again because we are now more than halfway through, and we're going to see what goes on. Wow. Okay, we are on page 247. I'm not even at the end of a chapter right now. I'm in the middle of one, but I feel like I have to update you guys because we just got this revelation of what the bracelet thing meant, and I'm kind of shook. Honestly, I didn't expect this twist. Honestly, I don't know if I would consider that a plot twist. I think it's more of just like a reveal, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting that. And I love when I don't see things coming in books, so I'm really excited to keep reading. I just really wanted to fill you guys in on that the bracelet thing caught me off guard, and I didn't see that coming. My cat is here with me for emotional support as I read through these next few pages because I feel like it's going to start getting kind of dark, but that's okay. We are here for it, and I will see you guys soon. Alright guys, I'm on page 252 now. It was a very quick break between my last update, but I'm shook, honestly. We just got another reveal. We understand what the title of the book means now. This book is catching me off guard, and the thing that I predicted, I feel like still actually happened, but all of these other things that are getting revealed, I really didn't expect. The reveals just keep on coming, which I love, because I haven't expected any of these, so that makes me really excited to keep going and see what else this book has in store. So I will see you guys again with another update, probably soon, the way that things are going right now. I'm now on page 342. That was quite a big chunk that I just read without updating it, but honestly, I didn't want to put the book down because I was just so much invested in the story. I will say my prediction was right. I did guess what was going to happen in terms of Sky's past about one event. I didn't predict her whole backstory or anything like that. I'm very surprised with how this book kind of blended all of these things together and all these reveals and kept me just wanting more and surprised and on the edge of my seat to figure out what was going to happen. I'm not even done the book yet, but I'm really, really enjoying this. There was something that happened that really caught me off guard. I didn't think the book was going to take that kind of turn. It kind of came a little bit out of nowhere, but we will talk about that in my spoiler section. I don't want to give too much away about that. But so far, I don't have that much of the book left, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to wrap this up. The plot twist, very satisfying. I saw nothing coming except that one thing in her past, but that's fine. I think you were kind of supposed to figure that out anyways. So we're just going to keep on going, and I will let you guys know when I finish the book. Okay, so I finished the book, and I don't know how I feel about this right now. I have a lot of emotions. I love the way that it ended, talking about stars and that kind of stuff. Something that I just noticed is that the chapter breaks in this book are separated by stars, which I think is really cool. And I only just noticed that towards the end of the book. Like, for example, you can see here, there's a chapter break, and there's a star right there to kind of signify that there's a break in the chapter, which I love how everything tied together at the end. And I'm really excited to give you guys my overall thoughts of this book, which I will do later today.
Okay guys, we are now at the end of the video, so I'm going to give you guys my overall thoughts to wrap up this book without spoilers yet. These are still completely spoiler free. These are just my overall thoughts on the book as a whole. So I feel like this book was very initially catching. I was really sucked into it pretty quickly. I think by the 50-page mark, I was really set to just keep on reading and not put it down, which is good. So it really caught my attention and I was really absorbed into the story. This book is a little over 400 pages, so it is a little bit of a longer book, but I didn't feel like there were any parts of it that should be cut out or anything like that. I wasn't bored at all throughout any part of the book. It kept my attention the whole time, which is very impressive, and I really like that about this book. I do think that the main characters were very well developed. The side characters, not so much, and I feel like I noticed this as well in Slammed. I mentioned this earlier in my updates, but that is something to keep in mind if you are a big fan of books that really have very broad characters that are filled throughout the book, that you have lots of detail on and you get to love all of the characters. I feel like this one wouldn't necessarily satisfy that craving that you have, because the focus definitely is on our two main characters, Holder and Sky. That being said though, I loved the two main characters. I feel like they're both very complex. They have their own issues going on, and I loved watching them develop and grow closer together, which is awesome. There were a lot of twists and turns in this book, and a lot of reveals that I feel like were really satisfying. So if that's something that you like in a romance book, then I would definitely recommend this one for you, because ultimately that's what this book is. It is a romance, but it does deal with some triggering topics, I guess you could say. So I would look up the trigger warnings for this book before you pick it up if you are easily triggered by certain things, because there definitely are some darker topics that are discussed in here that I definitely wouldn't want anyone to not know about if you were easily triggered. But at the same time, these trigger warnings are spoilers, so keep that in mind if you want to look those up. I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I feel like it was a very, very good book, but at the same time, I was hoping for that extra punch of emotion. I didn't cry at all in this book, which I was really hoping it would tug on my heartstrings a little bit more. So I took off a little bit of points for that, but at the same time, I feel like there was something missing that just didn't quite hit the nail on the head for me. I can't really pinpoint what it is, but at the same time, this was a very pleasant, enjoyable reading experience. Like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I would recommend this if you are a fan of Colleen Hoover books and you haven't picked this one up yet, or if you like romance books and you wanted to try something new. This one would be a good one for you. Just keep in mind about those trigger warnings and look into that if you feel like you feel the need to. So that is it for my non-spoiler section. So I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of a heads up. We're going to get into the spoiler section. I will keep it brief, but we are going to be discussing spoilers now. So go ahead and click out of this video right now if you do not want to be spoiled. And if that's you, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. But for the rest of us who have read this book or just really want to know about the spoilers, keep on watching. Okay, we are now in the spoiler section. So the first thing that I really want to mention is that the sexual assault that happened between Sky's father and herself is something that I picked up on the very first flashback. I feel like it was very subtly hinted at, but I just kind of recognized the way that that was kind of going, and then at the next flashback, it was just even more obvious to me. So once we got to the part of the book where Sky was talking about sexual assault with her father and was confronting him about it, although I already kind of knew that that's what was happening, it was still satisfying to read that confrontation and her dealing with that and confronting that with her dad. It was very satisfying for me to read. I will say, though, the fact that he shot himself was very unexpected. I didn't think that it was going to go that far. I thought maybe he was going to shoot at Holder or something like that. I really didn't think he was going to shoot himself. I feel like that part didn't really make sense to me. If anything, I think he would have done it after she would have left, but to do it in front of her is just even more traumatizing and just adds to the layers of trauma that she already has. So I don't really understand why he would have done that in that moment, but obviously he was not mentally well, so there were things going on there. So that was the only reveal that I kind of saw coming, I guess you could say. When it came to the other stuff, like for example, the bracelet and why Holder was so upset that Sky had this bracelet, I honestly thought that it was a jealousy thing and that he was mad that she might have gotten a gift from another guy, which is what she thought initially until she found out the truth, that that actually would have been given to her by his sister. That had me shook. I didn't see that coming. I was very surprised. And then the whole fact that they actually knew each other and that he had let her down, and that's why he had the tattoo Hopeless, because it's hope and less, like his sister. That whole thing was like, wow, that really shocked me. I didn't see that coming whatsoever. That was very well done. I feel like there were subtle hints that make it understandable as to why that reveal happened. It wasn't like they came out of nowhere or anything, which I loved, because looking back, there were signs for sure of what was going on, but it wasn't so obvious that whenever the reveal came, I wasn't surprised. Like, I definitely was surprised, which is exactly what I look for in books like this. I like to be surprised, so that's always good. I was also very caught off guard by the fact that her dad sexually assaulted her adopted mother and that they were actually brother and sister. That whole thing was wow. Whenever we did get that reveal that Karen kidnapped Sky, I was like, okay, I feel like there's something else going on. Like, she didn't seem like that bad of a woman that she would just kidnap some random child and pretend that she's her adopted mother. So I knew that there was something going on, but the fact that she was actually Sky's dad's sister and that he sexually assaulted her as well was like, wow. Like, I did not see that coming at all either. If you are a fan of rereading books, I feel like this one would be a good one, because knowing the fact that you understand all the things that are going to happen and the things that already have happened that aren't revealed to you yet, I think it would be kind of fun to reread it and look at all those signs that you missed while you were reading the book the first time. So I also really love the fact that the stars had such a big meaning. The fact that she looked up at the stars in her bedroom as she would zone out, and that she would always look up at the stars and that kind of stuff, and the fact that it came from Holder telling her to look at the stars whenever she was upset, like that was such a cute way to end the book. I feel like it really tied everything together. Everything was full circle, and it was a very nice ending to the story. So that kind of wraps up my overall feelings for this book and ends our spoiler section. So if you guys have read this book, I would love to know your thoughts down below. Just make sure if you're including spoilers to give a little spoiler warning. That way anyone who's reading the comments doesn't get spoiled, because I definitely don't want anyone to be spoiled on this book if they haven't read it and they want to go into it as blind as possible. I really enjoyed this kind of read with me video, so I'll probably do more, especially for these Colleen Hoover books, just because I know so many people are big fans of them, and I love watching people react to things happening in books. So I'm probably going to do more of these. Let me know down below if you prefer a different format for these videos, because I'm definitely open to different things. And for sure, let me know down below if you've read this book and what your thoughts are on it. That being said though, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to, you can go ahead and leave a like, a comment, or subscribe if you want, and I will see you next time. Thanks guys. Bye. God bless.